It's the second day into the new year. Welcome to News 360 on TV3. We're also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Grace Hamwa Ajaman.
Good evening. My name is Noble Crosbyanan, and these are the headlines of tonight's bulletin.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank, Nero Prime Water.
University of Ghana points to SRC and GRASAC charges in 2025-26 fee hike as GTech moves to seek clarification.
Also tonight, Adentan Circuit Court orders the remand and psychological evaluation of self-styled and social media sensation Ibo Noah.
From Takrady to the world, we tell you the Ghanaian roots of the Jenga game and how it has become a global sensation.
In business news tonight, industry watchers project major relief of fuel consumers in 2026 as falling global oil prices and stronger cedi push OMCs to cut pump prices.
And later on the international front, sparklers on champagne bottles likely cause of deadly Swiss bar fire.
Thank you so much for making time to join us tonight. Reminder that we're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. You can follow us there and let's get interactive. But let's start the bulletin from here.
Right, the new school season is here. Let's begin on the education front. The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTech, has issued a strong warning to public universities against increasing academic fees without parliamentary approval following reports of a significant fee hike at the University of Ghana. While GTech insists its directive against fee increments remains in force, the University of Ghana says the increases are largely driven by third-party charges imposed by students' leadership.
The Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, Professor Abdullahi Jinapo, has reaffirmed that the Commission's directive against fee increment this year remains in force. Reacting to the recent announcements of a provisional fee increase of up to 25%, Professor Jinapo stressed that unilateral hikes undermine government's efforts to ensure equitable access to tertiary education. GTech says it will formally write to the University of Ghana to verify the reports and cautions that institutions found in breach could face sanctions. The hikes affect both continuing students and freshmen, just weeks before the new academic year begins. Freshmen at the College of Humanities will now pay 3,110 Ghana cedis for the 2025-2026 academic year, representing a 34% increase. Continuing students face a 27% rise, while at the School of Law, incoming students will pay 3,226 Ghana cedis, up 33% from last year. A breakdown reveals sharp increases in third-party levies. Freshmen will pay 767 Ghana cedis compared to 255 Ghana cedis last year, a 200% surge. Continuing students will pay 455 Ghana cedis. Additional charges include 300 Ghana cedis for the SRC Hostel Development Levy, 100 Ghana cedis for the 75th Anniversary Legacy Project, 312 Ghana cedis for Telecell Data Package for freshers, plus welfare and reprographic fees. The hikes extend beyond humanities and law, with other faculties reporting increases between 25 and 35%. Meanwhile, attempts to reach the university's Public Affairs Directorate have been unsuccessful, and the SRC president has declined to comment at the time of filing this report.
Right. Let's stay a while longer on this and speak with Dr. Peter Patti-Anti. He's Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. Doc, we're glad you made time to join us tonight. The University of Ghana is explaining that the fee increase is as a result of third-party charges by the SRC and GRASAG. Tell us, is it usual for these third parties to impose charges without the approval of the school?
All right, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. First and foremost, we need to understand that a lot is being done to ensure that financing does not become a barrier in access to education. And that is why I think the government and GTEC continues to ensure that increment in fees are not above a certain percentage. But we should also understand that these increments are important to enable the university deliver quality education. And therefore, where the increments are justified, I think that the system should allow it to go. In the instance of third-party charges, I am reliably informed that these are fees that are agreed on by the leadership of the student body. So there can never be a situation whereby the university would impose fees for students to pay when that fee or those fees are not approved at the student level. There's a lot of deliberation that goes on at their own kind of leadership and consultation system, and then it is brought to the university for the university to approve. In those meetings, what I'm informed is that in such meetings they mount strong justifications for the kind of fees that they want the students to pay. And where the university feels that it is too much, the university goes into negotiation with the student body to ensure that the fees stays within a certain framework or a certain level. So yes, Eugene is right. These third-party fees are imposed by the student body, and from the perspective of the student body, they believe that they have enough support from the student front to be able to push these fees out.
Doc, so there's this argument that the SRC as well as GRASAG and these other unions are supposed to be representing the students' interests in these areas. How do you justify the fact that they are the same people who also impose these charges that the students or those who pay the fee say are rather on the high side?
Yeah, so that is why we need to first look at what are these charges? What are they meant to do? What is the purpose of imposing these charges? I think that if the university, in the university's estimation, if these are charges that do not seek to address specific needs of the students, they would definitely flag it. But if the students insist on that, then it means that the students feel that these are things that the students, the student leadership thinks that these are the things that the students need. What we need to be sure about is whether these charges, these things that the students have been asked to pay for, were brought before the student representatives, the various hall presidents, the various reps from the various student unions, for them to look at it and agree before the SRC took it to the university system. I think that is where the conversation should look at, because as far as it seems that the students are aware of these charges, and that is why the university would definitely allow these charges be placed on the student bill for the students to pay for. So we need to now charge the student leadership to let us know whether these charges were presented to the various student unions and what was the response from the student body, because it's the student body that are now complaining that the fees are becoming too much. So what did they communicate to them? Right. And what was the final agreement before they presented their third-party charges to the university?
Right, Doc, before I let you go, GTEC has indicated that it will demand full answers from the university in respect of the fee increment, warning other universities to desist from doing same. How significant is this move, and also how should we manage this so that funding does not become a challenge for people to go to school?
Well, I think GTEC has got the mandate to do what they are supposed to do. I think that the university also has justification for what has happened. I believe that when they are brought to the table, there will be conversation and explanations will be given. And at the end of the day, I think that whatever solution that is arrived at should be a solution that puts the student at the center. And this is an opportunity for us to call out some of the student leaders that are now coming out in our various student unions, the NUS, the various SRC. They seem not to be representing the needs of the student. I've said this a lot, that the news of old is not what you're experiencing now. They need to know that they are representing students and not their own interest or maybe that of the university authorities. And if student leaders think that way, they will not be they will not impose such fees that would be a disadvantage to most of the students who technically cannot pay the normal fees that the students are supposed to pay in their quest to access tertiary education.
Right. Doc, thank you for talking to us. Dr. Peter Pate Antics, Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. Crosby is standing by the magic wall. He has something for us.
Let's do some other stories tonight, Grace. Now, you know that the Kandifo Institute has formally petitioned the Office of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the OSP, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, over what it describes as serious and credible concerns regarding alleged unlawful activities within Ghana's gold board operations. In a petition submitted as concerned citizens of Ghana, the Institute claims that it has gathered intelligence suggesting that a person is currently under investigation, but the person is also engaged in alleged financial loss activities to the state, has re-emerged within the country's gold value chain in apparent violation of the Gold Board Act and related laws. We'll walk you through exactly what the petition contains. This is the core claim of the petition, that an individual, the petition alleges that an individual currently under criminal investigation for financial loss to the state is allegedly operating behind the scenes within Gold Board, despite not being licensed or certified under the Gold Board Act. Now, according to the petitioners, this individual is associated with Goldstrom Ghana and is linked to investigations arising from the MIIF Gold for Forex. You remember this, G4F operations. Despite these ongoing investigations, however, intelligence cited, according to the people in the petition, is suggesting that this man continues to exert influence within gold board operations by extending the entire gold value chain. Now, the petition further raises concerns that this alleged involvement is occurring outside the formal gold board licensing framework, contrary to the laws and the requirements that only certified and fit and proper entities participate in gold board sensitive operations. Let me walk you through the alleged roles that this entity is said to be playing in the work of Gold Board. Now, the petition goes further to outline the specific roles that the individual is alleged to be playing within Gold Board operations. Now, these include involvement in assaying, for instance, and smelting gold. These functions are also mentioned that directly determine the quality and the quantity, as well as value of gold entering the entire national system. Beyond this individual is alleged to have influence over gold pricing. And this is a critical process that affects how much revenue accrues to the state. The petition is also claiming that he has been involved in organizing, now listen to this carefully, gold board training programs. And that includes traceability training for license holders. And he's doing this allegedly without transparent procurement process. Perhaps one of the most concerning is the allegation that this individual has had a hand in deciding where Gold Board gold is assayed and refined, including the use of entities that are neither licensed nor certified under Gold Board. And the petitioners argue that these actions, if proven, amount to a direct violation of the Gold Board Act and expose the entire system to abuse. And finally, the demands that the group is making. In response to these concerns, the petition makes clear and very specific demands. First, it is calling for the immediate investigation by the Attorney General, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office to establish full facts surrounding the alleged activities. Again, the petition is asking that the suspension of all unlicensed individuals and entities involved in Gold Board operations pending the outcome of these investigations, the investigation by the Attorney General, the OSP, and EOCO. And then finally, they are asking for this, that the petition is calling for full disclosure of all contracts awarded by Gold Board, as well as the due diligence process used in the selection processes of individuals and companies involved in everything gold in the country, talking about assaying, smelting, pricing, training, and then refinery decisions as well. And the petitioners say that these steps, they are very necessary to protect Ghana's national interest and restore confidence in the Gold Board system. Let's do some other stories tonight.
Away from that, social media sensation and popular self-acclaimed prophet Evans Eshen, also known as Ebonoa, has been remanded by the Adenta Circuit Court for 2 weeks. The self-acclaimed prophet was arraigned before the Adenta Circuit Court on the charge of publication of false news with intent to cause fear and panic. Here is Lord Edwasaris' report.
Ghana police on December 31st, 2025, picked up the 33-year-old over allegations of publishing several videos claiming that the world will be destroyed by a flood on Christmas Day. In court on Friday, January 2, presiding judge Angela Tachi ordered for a psychiatric evaluation of Ebonoa at any of the government psychiatric facilities before the next adjourned date. Per the brief facts of the case, Ebonoa, a private security guard in Accra, admitted in his investigation caution statement of circulating the said videos on his Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube accounts. The prosecution further alleged that Ebonoa stated that the boat he referred to as an ark in the videos did not belong to him, but was owned by a fisherman in Elmina in the central region. The suspect further admitted that his claims were false and acknowledged that there were no impending flood intended to destroy the world, but are all his own fabrications. The case has since been adjourned to January 15 for continuation. In the months leading to Christmas, Ebonoa, the self-acclaimed prophet, posted multiple videos across his various social media platforms, urging interested parties to acquire tickets for seats on his God-inspired ark, which was to save mankind, a repeat of Genesis chapters 6 to 9, documenting biblical Noah's Ark. After gaining prominence with his warnings, Ebonoa again took to social media and on some musical concert platforms to disclose that his incessant prayers had averted the floods which was due on December 25.
Away from that to one of our headline stories tonight. It's a game that turns silence into suspense and balance into bravery, played in living rooms, bars, classrooms, and competitions around the world by millions. But behind the trembling blocks and burst of laughter lies a story very few people know. Because long before Jenga became a global sensation, its first blocks were stacked right here in Ghana. I bet you didn't know that. But Judith Brown has more in this report.
Hey, Kunzo will let the thing fall right now.
One wrong move and everything comes crashing down. It's a game played across the globe by over 90 million people.
This is it. She gone. She gone. Let me see what time it is. She gone.
She not gone.
But what if we told you this world-famous game has a story that begins right here in Ghana? This simple wooden game, known globally as Jenga, is more than just fun and suspense. Its roots trace back to a manful in Takrady, where a British woman growing up in Ghana in the 1970s played a humble block stacking game using locally made wooden blocks. That woman was Leslie Scott, and decades later, that childhood hobby would become one of the most successful games in history.
Pressure one.
Scott brought the game to the UK, formalized the rules, and introduced it at the 1983 London Toy Fair. And in 2020, Jenga was inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame, celebrating its significant contribution to play. The name Jenga comes from the Swahili word kujenga, meaning to build. But the spirit of the game, which is community, balance, risk, and resilience, mirrors something deeply African. And so we took a trip to Takrady, to the very town where it all started. And while many had long forgotten this popular game, some natives explained It was known at the time in their local parlance as Osiadan, which means to build, or takrade bricks.
In such a way that Obiana Ziafio. In the Bezimedo to do, and also the ABI about 4 and 5. I do it to the Anamus with the medal to the Namako Puntama.
What we do is we collect wood and stack them up till the block collapses. We later started picking wood from sawmills and played it the same way. So whoever caused the block to collapse is the loser and will receive a slap on the back of their hand. The young ones no longer play this game. The world has changed. Technology has changed everything.
Age of technology.
Interestingly, they were completely unaware that Jenga originated from their township.
I can't really remember the game, it's been long.
Jenga is simple. Stack the blocks, remove one at a time, place it on top, and the tower grows taller and taller. The tension rises, and eventually, gravity wins. It requires no language, no batteries, no screen, just steady hands and a little courage. Every move is a moment of suspense, yet, despite its global fame, few people know Ghana's role in the story. And that raises a powerful question. Could Ghana turn Jenga's global popularity into cultural pride, tourism, and economic opportunity? Well, at a time when countries are monetizing culture, storytelling, and experiences, Jenga presents a rare opportunity. A global brand with local roots. From woodworkers to tour guides, designers to event organizers, the blocks are already here. What remains is the vision.
Well, the world may know Jenga as a game of balance, but here in Ghana, it means something more. A chance to reclaim history, build culture, and turn a childhood game into a pillar of sports and tourism. Because sometimes the biggest world stories start with the smallest wooden block. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
Well, very soon we'll be organizing Jenga-thon to see whose block is not going to fall. But let's go to the Volta region now, and hundreds of Muslims in the whole Zango in the Volta region observed Friday Juma prayers in the open following the closure of the whole central mosque. The closure of the mosque follows a directive from the Volta Regional Security Council. More in this report.
The whole central mosque was closed down this dawn by a team of police and military officers following a directive from the Volta Regional Security Council on Wednesday. The move forms part of recommendations by RECSEC in response to the bloody shooting incidents that occurred at the mosque on Friday, December 26, 2025. Though temporary, the closure of the mosque has forced some residents to observe Juma prayers in the open amidst calls for peace and justice.
Imam has said something about peace. No one should take the law into his own hand, as some people did. So I'm using this opportunity to advise everybody to send my signal to the security agencies. They have arrested them. More people are on the ground, going up and down. They have the evidence. Up to today, they did not arrest them. We are appealing to them. The justice will bring the peace. If they did not come, this thing will not occur. They should arrest them so that the peace will be there. Not to close the mosque.
But the vote is here. The vote is here. MPP doesn't have one city in Zongo here. One vote in Zongo they doesn't have. NDC have 99.9 vote in Zongo here. Now what is happening? There is a political interference. There is. Because if there is no NDC in it, it didn't happen. 1 week, casualty, even dogs or chickens, when they shift them, you look for them. People have gun, these things in their legs, bullets in their legs. No, none of them. The MC is not here, the minister is not here, the MP is not here. Nobody visited them.
In 2021, the Central Mosque was closed when tension erupted between the two feuding groups, with today's closure being the second. Though all suspects arrested after Friday's sporadic shooting incident have been released, investigations into the incident continue.
And now, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has arrested 5 individuals for impersonating members of the NIMOS task force and extorting money from illegal miners in the eastern region. The suspects were picked up on January 2 this year at about 10:30 a.m. at Chibi Akwadum in the Abuakwa South District in the eastern region. According to NIMOS, the 5 men were moving from one Galamsey side to another, dressed in khaki trousers, military-style pouches and desert boots, while falsely presenting themselves as members of the NIMOS task force. The suspects have been identified as Wisdom Muweneko, Casimir Nunukweku, Moses Dabiam, Christopher Amako, and Paul Agbanu, who was the team's driver. The arrest followed intelligence received by NIMOS about a group of individuals posing as national security operatives and extorting large sums of money from illegal miners in parts of the eastern region. While acting swiftly on the intelligence, the NIMOS task force intercepted the suspects while they were on board a pickup vehicle with registration number GS563-25, and the suspects have since been handed over to the Ghana Police Service to assist with further investigations and possible prosecution. Meanwhile, NIMOS, in collaboration with the Nzima East Blue Water Guards, has launched a major crackdown on illegal mining activities along the Ankobra River in the western region. And the joint operation began early Friday morning, January 2, 2026, in the Abelabo and Akango communities within the Nzima East municipality.
You're also watching News 360 on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. That's more after this break. Stay with us. Go on that break, though. For more than a decade, the road between Aima and Wenchi in the Kintampo South districts of the Bono East region was not just a route, but a dangerous journey locals described as a fight between life and death. Residents endured years of hardship caused by the deteriorating road, from delayed access to health care to the loss of farm produce. Today, that struggle is easing as construction finally begins on the long-awaited project.
The human cost of the road's condition is perhaps best illustrated by the harrowing experience of local parents. Sechiwa Rose, a resident, recalled a terrifying experience a year ago when her daughter fell gravely ill. I was taking my child to the next town to receive health care. I had to check her pulse every few steps because I was scared she might pass away, because we had to walk to the hospital, which is about 2 hours away. Even when a woman is in labor, by the time you get to the hospital, the worst would have happened because the road is terrible. Her story is a common one in Enyima, where medical emergencies were often met with the impossible hurdle of an impassable road. For the farming community, the road was a barrier to survival. Nana Chiamin Kwampim highlighted the irony of a hard-working agricultural community unable to reap the rewards of its labor. We experience post-harvest losses due to the nature of the road, because buyers do not like coming down to buy our produce. Those brave enough to navigate the route, like tricycle driver Adams Kasim, found their livelihoods eaten away by maintenance. My tricycle is always developing fault whenever I ply this route. Due to that, I do not like coming here.
The start of the construction has brought a sense of renewed hope to the town. Abripon Ameyao Amponsem II, Chief of Enyima, praised the government's timely intervention, noting that the development will have a positive effect on economic activities in the area.
This place is a farming community, so we have a lot of crops here in this region, so it will benefit the farmers around this community.
It is the hope of the residents of Enyima to see to the end of the construction of this road. Belinda Tete, TV3 News, Enyima.
Now, over 500 healthcare professionals, policymakers and researchers are meeting in Accra for the annual Ghanaian Diaspora Nurses Conference. It is aimed at catalyzing partnerships for ethical workforce development and sustainable healthcare reforms.
The conference convened by the Ghanaian Diaspora Nursing Alliance is, among other things, to amplify the leadership and impact of healthcare professionals, including nurses, midwives, physicians, and allied health professionals in transforming healthcare systems in Africa. The conference aims to elevate the contributions of the entire healthcare workforce while centering the voices and leadership of nurses and midwives as vital catalysts for systemic change. Whilst Africa's health systems are at a critical inflection point, chairperson of the conference and president of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Perpetual Ofori, said the sector requires collaborative and innovative leadership to meet the growing demands of a changing population.
We've had a lot of our nurses migrate to these high-income countries, and some went there not only to work but to get educated. Some have stayed within the health system and actually reached very high peaks in terms of their professional careers. They have a lot to share. So having them here is an opportune moment for each and every nurse who has registered to be part of this conference.
Technical Director at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Hafiz Adam Tahir, said the diaspora associations should assist in infrastructure development.
We look at the collaboration, meaningful collaboration and useful collaboration that we can have with them. And such collaborations already are existing in our system where we have PPP policy.
President of the Ghanaian Diaspora Nursing Alliance, Professor Yvonne Komodo-Mensah, said the theme reflects the willingness of nurses to cause a change.
A lot of healthcare professionals leaving the shores of Ghana for a better life abroad, but it's important to remember that there are also Ghanaians and Africans who don't necessarily train in Ghana or Africa, but may be born in the diaspora, but still have very close ties to Ghana and Africa.
The two-day event is under the theme Voices of Change, Shaping the Future of African Healthcare.
You're watching News 360. We're live also on our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. We're back with more stories after this break. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Let's do some business now. Industry watchers have projected a significant relief for petroleum consumers in the country in 2026. This is against the backdrop of some oil marketing companies reducing fuel prices at the pumps ahead of wider industry adjustments as falling global oil prices and a stronger Ghana cedi create room for relief for consumers at the start of the new year.
Star Oil has taken the lead by cutting the price of petrol from 11 cedis 35 pesos to 10 cedis 56 pesos per litre. The price of diesel has also been reduced from 12 cedis 45 pesos to 11 cedis 96 pesos per litre. In addition, some selected service stations are selling fuel below these new prices as part of discount-driven pricing models, intensifying competition within the downstream petroleum sector. Checks by 3 Business indicate that other major oil marketing companies are preparing to announce similar reductions from January 2nd following the early moves by industry leaders. Ghana currently has over 200 oil marketing companies, many of which typically align with pump prices, with adjustments initiated by dominant players in the market. Industry watchers say the early price cuts reflect improving market fundamentals, including declining international crude oil and refined product prices, as well as strengthening Ghana cedi. International market data shows petrol prices fell by more than 9%, diesel by over 8%, while LPG also recorded declines. At the same time, the cedi has appreciated strongly against the US dollar in recent weeks, easing import costs for fuel marketers. Analysts believe that if these conditions are sustained, consumers could see further reductions at the pumps in the coming weeks.
And the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, has welcomed the resumption of operations at the Tema Oil Refinery after years of inactivity. It says government must provide resources to ensure TOR produces fuel that meets international standards.
TOR restarted a few weeks ago, processing about 28,000 barrels of crude a day, roughly a quarter of Ghana's fuel demand. The chamber argues that revamping the refinery is vital for energy security and for easing pressure on foreign exchange reserves.
It brings a relief on the forex, all right? It brings relief on the forex as far as importing diesel and petrol is concerned. However, they are going to benchmark and price with the FOB Platts for sure, just as MTO is doing. But in terms of availability of product, that's a key significant milestone that TOR is bringing to the market.
The Chamber's Chief Executive, Dr. Riverson Opong, says TOR must be adequately funded to guarantee product quality.
It's something I've been pushing from this year. If you were at the downstream dialogue, the Chamber was advocating for TOR to come back. And I believe that now they are back, we need to look at how we make their product even more quality to meet the international standard that is being imported today.
The Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Duncan Amwa, agrees, stressing that every effort should be made to bring TOR's output in line with industry standards.
That is where we call on the Finance Ministry and the Energy Ministries to collaborate to get TOR more than desulfurizers, so as to be able to even reduce the sulfur count that they would have.
Well, that's it for business. Let's find out the latest on the forex and commodity market.
When you're going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint me champion. When you're going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab The luxury acrylic paint. No be any painting be paint o.
The Luxury acrylic paint.
Ultimate champion.
Still, Misaka, and Nemum was a summer brabo. Any kind of phone na swabrabo.
Misaka pensions, Carol.
Misaka order Sika.
Misaka insurance.
Misaka alone.
Mom Fogosuri ye echumaden. Dia boye nyina ye sika ho ban.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. 2025 in the Ghana Premier League has ended with unmatched drama. Now, as we navigate 2026, the competition has reached its business end, and many teams will fight for the coveted trophy, while others battle for relegation. A lot happened in the beginning of the campaign, and my colleague Mutala Yakubu sums it up in this story.
The 2025-26 Ghana Premier League season has so far been a roller coaster, with clubs fiercely competing for the championship while others battle to secure survival. The campaign officially took shape in September when the Ghana Football Association announced Adisa Production Limited as the official broadcast partner of the league. That decision immediately set the tone for a season that has generated significant interest, drawing on its strong background in reality TV productions such as Ghana's Most Beautiful and Mentor, Adisa General Manager Apefa Infojo pledged to deliver world-class production standards.
This launch is not merely an announcement of a partnership between Adisa Productions Limited and the Ghana Football Association. It's the unveiling of a new standard for how Ghanaian football will be seen. At Adisa Productions, we are not just covering the game. We are telling the full story of Ghanaian football. The passion, the rivalries, the fans, the setbacks, and the glory. We are proud to partner with the Ghana Football Association to usher in a new era of football coverage, one that is proudly Ghanaian, boldly innovative, and globally competitive.
For the first time, clubs received 1 million Ghana cedi as part of their preparatory support, a development GFA President Keto Kweku described as the new dawn of the league.
As part of our new approach, and through this unique partnership with Adisa Productions, each one of our GPL clubs will, before the start of the league season, receive the amount of 1 million Ghana cedis each. It is the firm commitment by the Football Association, by Adisa Productions, and by the government, represented here by our Chief of Staff, to ensure that Ghana football becomes what it's supposed to be.
The season also enjoys strong government backing, led by Sports Minister Kofi Adams and Chief of Staff Julius Deborah. The Chief of Staff assured the public of government's commitment to supporting the domestic game.
The President is fully committed to the development of sports in Ghana, not just as recreation, but as an engine of economic growth, youth employment, and national unity.
September 12, 2025 marked the official kickoff of the league as Hartlepool hosted debutant Ho United at the Accra Sports Stadium. The atmosphere was electric, further heightened by a live performance from dancehall artist Stoneboy. Despite Hearts' renewed optimism following an improved top 4 finish the previous season, they were held to a goalless draw by a disciplined Ho United. Asante Kotoko, the most successful club in the Ghana Premier League history, began their campaign with a narrow 1-0 victory, providing an early confident boost for the Porcupine Warriors. Attention then shifted to the first super clash of the season between Kotoko and Hartlepool, a fixture eagerly anticipated by fans nationwide. Originally scheduled for match day 5, the encounter was rescheduled to match day 9 and lived up to expectation. A first-half penalty converted by Mofrin Donzo proved decisive, securing victory for Kotoko. Since that encounter, both clubs have produced mixed results, combining strong performances with occasional setbacks as the season approaches conclusion of the first round with just one match remaining. With the title race still wide open and the question of who will ultimately lift the trophy yet to be answered, fans can look forward to an even brighter future for the Ghana Premier League as the season gets to the crunch period as we enter 2026.
And so there'll be a lot to look forward to in the Ghana Premier League in 2026 and even beyond that. And as usual, you can trust 3 Sports to bring you the latest updates. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on News 360.
Our talented kids contestant Isaac Bakai is steadily etching his name into history as he pursues a Guinness World Record for the longest drumming marathon by an individual. Despite the significance of the feat, Bakai has expressed disappointment over the limited support and lack of sponsorship, revealing that multiple efforts to secure backing for the attempt have proven unsuccessful. He spoke to Osuarai.
The visually impaired graduate of the University of Education Winneba, Isaac Bakai, kick-started the historic attempt driven by a strong desire to make history. The marathon, conducted under strict Guinness World Records guidelines, requires sustained drumming with minimal rest, 5 minutes per hour, and has tested Bakai's stamina and mental strength. Bakai has remained composed, delivering energetic performances of songs across multiple genres. Beyond the pursuit of a world record, Bakai hopes his journey will encourage persons with disabilities to believe in their abilities and pursue their dreams without fear or limitation.
And it will be a great inspiration to a lot of people, especially to the disabled community, people with disability. At least I didn't hide my talent or sit on my talent. At least I've brought it out and it has really helped me.
Supporters who have followed the attempt say they admire Bakai's remarkable resilience.
I heard about the program through someone and I decided to show up and just support him, just to boost the energy and give him some morale. It's really good. I wasn't really expecting he would go for that long because of, his condition, but then he's really showed that people who are visually impaired can actually do better, they can do better, and I'm really impressed about the attempt.
However, the journey has not been without challenges.
I started seeking for financial support from a lot of people to just support me. I can't do this thing alone. And they're also having this notion about this marathon thing that people always come and do it and they fail. So they don't want to also invest their money into it and it will never work. I've assured them, done all my best, but still I have to pay the place that I'm using, the venue. I have to pay. You see, and even the people assisting me, I have to feed them. How can I feed them? They are trying for themselves, but at least water should be there for them. Some smoke at least once a day, it will help.
Bakai's team has expressed disappointment over the lack of sponsorship and support since the attempt began.
I'll mention the name of the president, Mr. Blondaman. I've been to his office several times. And the people there, they've been preventing me. Anytime I write a letter, they'll ask me to bring an appointment letter. Anytime I bring it, I send it to them. They will never send it to them.
The reigning record holder, Alyssa Brown, who set a time of 150 hours and 1 minute in 2023, has nonetheless offered encouragement and words of support throughout Bakai's journey.
Isaac, just let you know I am watching you. Keep going, my friend, and keep doing your best. Do not worry about the pain. It will always be there, okay? Just push through and keep your head straight. Keep thinking about what you're doing. Remember to keep playing the drums all the time. When you're eating, when you are talking to people, trying to remember that you have the songs to play. That is the most important part. Enjoy yourself, okay?
Isaac Bakai's ambitious target of 192 consecutive hours of drumming, a mark that would decisively surpass the existing record.
And we wish Isaac Bakai all the best even as he takes up this challenge. Let's bring you the latest from the international front.
A fire at a bar in a Swiss ski resort appears to have been caused by sparklers placed on bottles of champagne that came too close to the ceiling, authorities said. 40 people died after the blaze in the early hours of New Year's Day in Crans-Montana, while 119 were injured. Swiss Attorney General Beatrice Pilaut told a news conference on Friday the investigation would focus on the materials used on the site, the bar's fire safety measures, its capacity, and the number of people inside at the time of the fire. The investigation will explore whether prosecutions will be necessary. If that is the case, and if those people are still alive, there will be a case opened against them. Venezuelan security forces have detained at least 5 Americans in recent months as the U.S. has built a pressure campaign against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, a U.S. official familiar with the matter has said.
That's our package tonight, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby Annan.
And I am Grace Hamwajiman. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good evening.